Hi guys, hope that you're all well. Welcome to another in the match vlog series. So this is going to be another Summer League match tonight against Ashton, which is going to be at Ashton Cricket Club. So should be a really good night actually. I always enjoy playing at Ashton because it's in a function room, so it's a decent size, plenty of room to move about. I mean, some of the venues that we play at, it can be a little bit cramped, can't really sort of play all the shots that you want to play. So so it's a good sized room, it's good conditions to play in, so that's always a real plus point. So tonight it's a Summer League match, and the Summer League in Trafford is basically the same format as the normal Winter League. So there's 3 in a team. So everybody plays each other, so there'll be 9 singles matches and then there'll be 1 doubles match at the end. The nice thing with the Summer League is that they're all essentially friendlies. Even though it's kind of classed as a league, there aren't any there's no points available or anything like that. There's no league table, so it's just essentially all friendlies. But the standard's very, very good in the division that we play in. So there'll be some there's good matches every week basically, so it's a really good way of staying sharp over the summer when there isn't quite as much table tennis. It's also a good time to, you know, if you want to experiment a little bit, try out different tactics, try out different rubbers and everything. It's a good time to do that. It's always good fun as well. It's quite a relaxed atmosphere. Might have a pint actually as well. So yeah, do normally enjoy the nights actually. They're very good. So the team tonight, I don't know for definite who we're going to be playing against. Our team is going to be myself, Neil McGrath and Pete Walker. So we've got a good strong team, which we've had for every match so far, and we've always given the opposition a bit of something to think about, which is really important. The team that we're going to be playing against, Ashton, I don't know for definite, but I've been told that it's going to possibly be Annie McDonald, John Carr and Jake Shaw. So it'll be tough. Like I say, if it's not those 3, then I know that they have Peter Douglas plays for them. Phil Hudson is another one, which is Annie's dad, and Howard Flint as well. He plays quite a lot for Ashton, so it could be one of those guys if one of the others don't play. So should be a really good night. This vlog is going to kind of look at everything that kind of goes on around the matches. So obviously I'm going to film all my matches and I will put those on separately. For this particular vlog, I'll put the highlights of the games. I'll show a little bit behind the scenes, so a bit of, you know, warming up, arriving at the club and all that, to give you like a real sort of flavour of how the night runs. And then I'll do a quick review at the end of the night, just to see how I've played and what I need to work on. So hopefully it should be a good night. Hopefully you'll enjoy it.
shot. Oh, too much, too clever. Sorry. Shot. Sorry.
Shot.
Shot. Great shot. Good idea. Good point. Good point. Good point.
No fucking way.
point.
Good one. 2-5. Sorry, Liam. 6-3.
Great shot.
7-6. Top shot. Ten. 5-7 service. 5-8. Come on. Service 7-9. One more. Good goal.
John, put that on. Okay, an easy one.
Nice ball. 7-5 service. 7-6.
so that was an interesting night tonight. I think from a personal perspective, I feel a little bit disappointed, a little bit flat at the way that I played. In parts, I think there was some good stuff in there. There was also there was a lot of things that were happening through the night that I kind of thought that I'd moved past a little bit, and I feel almost like I've kind of regressed a little bit. So a bit of a contrast to the last match vlog that I did, where I felt like I had a really good night and I played really well and was really happy. I wouldn't say completely the opposite to that, but yeah, just a little bit disappointed really with a few things. So a little sort of recap of the night. Playing against Phil Hudson. Phil's always tricky because he has, I think he has short pimples on both sides, and he's got a very, very good forehand hit. So if you try and spin anything into his forehand side, he'll just flat hit it and knock it straight past you. The strategy that I've generally used with Phil in the past is really to sort of target the backhand side and not to let him use that forehand hit. I managed to beat him. I think I beat him 3-0, but it was a little bit sloppy in places, and again, I didn't really stick to my strategy as well as I would have liked. So it was a little bit a case of I did enough to be able to beat him, but I made it hard work because I switched off at times and started going into his forehand when I knew that was the danger zone. So anyway, I managed to, was quite happy with that. Felt like I was playing well. The next game that I played was against Jake Shaw. Jake's an excellent player. He's certainly another level up from certainly another level up from where I play at the moment, and the type of play that I'm used to playing really. So obviously he's been away from the sport for a few years and he's only just come back now, so he's probably a little bit rusty and a little bit ragged around the edges, but you can certainly see from the way that he plays that he's played to a very, very good standard. It was really, really tough against him because he served short nearly all of the time, which again, I'm not really used to sort of playing against that. I think a lot of players will kind of throw the odd short serve in, but then we'll serve long a lot, and that will give me the opportunity to attack. Whereas Jake just didn't do that at all. There was the occasional slightly long serve which I did attack. Everything else was just really sort of short and tight. This kind of also forced me to do that as well, and I know this is something that I've been saying for quite a long time that I need to bring into my game, is serving shorter and having strategies around short serves. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit better at that, but I'm nowhere near where I'd like to be. The fifth set just completely got away from me. Before I knew it, I was kind of like 8-2 down, and I just knew against someone as good as Jake that I was just never going to pull that back. And I was a little bit disappointed in myself because I kind of gave up a little bit. Normally what I try and say to myself when we're 8-2 down, 8-3, 9-3, 9-4, whatever it may be, and if it's the final set, I'll still try and say to myself, play every point, just forget about the score, completely wipe the slate clean and just play each point. And I didn't do that tonight. So that was something that I was quite disappointed in myself really, because that's something, I can't control what Jake does, I can't control whether the ball catches a net or catches an edge, or if the opponent hits a great shot past me. I can't really control any of that, but I can control my mentality. Now I know that sometimes people will say I get a little, I do get a bit down on myself at times, I do let my emotions show, but I don't always feel like that's just me and that's part of my game. But when I start to kind of give up and I'm not mentally trying on every point right at the very end, then I can control that, and I stopped doing that, and I was disappointed with myself for that. So that's definitely a learning point to take into future games. The last match of the day was against John Carr, and I think, as I mentioned before, he's a smashing bloke. I've played him quite a few times now. I've got a lot of respect for John because he's a really gritty player, and he doesn't give up, and he grinds and he grinds and he grinds. And the matches that I've had with him in the past, they've always been like an absolute marathon battle. I've generally come out on top. I've lost to John. I think I have lost to him a couple of times in the past. but I generally just about edge it. And tonight I lost 3-0. So I was a little bit, again, I'm not disappointed to lose to John because he's an excellent player and he's really, really hard to beat. Again, I was just a little bit disappointed that, and I've talked about this in the past, so what was happening a little bit tonight was that the room was starting to get a little bit sweaty. The floor was getting a bit slippy, and that has happened before at Ashton. And I do sometimes have this problem where if it's a bit sweaty, there's a bit of moisture in the air, then when I'm trying to loop, the ball isn't gripping my bat properly. So that started to kind of creep into this game a little bit. And I don't want to make excuses because I don't want to take anything away from the fact that John played excellent. I think what I'm kind of disappointed at is the fact that I didn't really make some adjustments to my play to allow for this. So to just explain it in a little bit more detail, what essentially kind of starts happening when it gets like this, because I like to loop, so I'm obviously trying to really brush the ball to create a lot of spin, and the rubber has to grip the ball to be able to to do that, to play the types of loops that I hit. When there's a bit of moisture in the air and it gets a bit sweaty, the rubber doesn't grip the ball in the same way, so the ball kind of like falls off the bat a little bit more. And what starts happening is the ball will then sort of fall and go in the net, and I could sort of tell that because when I hit the shot, it felt good and it was going in the net. And then what I then start to do is I start to compensate for that. So I then either try and lift the ball a little bit more, or I try and hit it a bit flatter to stop it going in the net, but then of course it starts going off the end of the table. And if you kind of look back over the game, that definitely started happening. I was either putting in the net or putting it long. So, but I mean that's part of what happens, and it's the same for both players. Certain types of players, it doesn't affect them as much because they're either hitting it flatter or they're pushing a bit more or whatever it may be. But obviously what I need to do is I need to kind of identify when that's happening, and I need to change a little bit what I'm doing. Again, what I sort of felt with the game against John is that obviously my looping and his lobbing, he was definitely in the superior position because of the fact that he didn't have to worry too much about the ball kind of like not gripping the rubber properly. But I just carried on doing the same thing, and rather than sort of saying to myself, okay, let's change what's happening, I just kept doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm just a little bit disappointed because I think what I felt from when I played at the weekend in Nottingham was that I was really happy that I was identifying, where certain players were weaker, where players were stronger, and I was adjusting my game accordingly. And tonight I didn't do that. Tonight I just went back to what I've always done in the past, like 2-3 years ago, where I'm just continually just trying to loop, and I'm just trying to loop somebody off the table. So I've got to take this as a real learning curve, that I need to sort of start thinking to myself, if my normal game, my looping game isn't working, what can I do differently? And I need to have some sort of an alternative game plan. There's a lot that I can a lot to learn from. I feel at the moment that there's a few things that, a few old habits that I kind of thought I'd got rid of that is still there. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Please continue to support the channel by obviously liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's really, really appreciated, and it's great the support and all the feedback that I get from the video. So thank you very much. I'll see you again soon.